than 7 million UK citizens could this year because of laws they haven't even heard about. That's not an exaggeration. Right now, new rules are being rolled out quietly, buried deep in government documents, yet they could change how you save, spend, and even access your own money. Your pension, taxed differently, your bank account, monitored tighter, even cash in hand, might become illegal in certain situations. The scariest part, most people won't realize what's happening until it's too late. So here's the big question. Are you financially safe under these new UK laws? In the next few minutes, we'll uncover 10 new laws that could directly impact your wallet and what you can do right now to stay ahead and stay protected. Stay tuned, because what you don't know can cost you. Number 1. Digital Pound Infrastructure Bill. Imagine waking up one morning to find that cash is no longer accepted, and every pound you spend is monitored in real time. This is not science fiction. It's called the Digital Pound Infrastructure Bill, and it's currently laying the groundwork for the UK's first central bank digital currency, nicknamed the Britcoin. Unlike traditional pounds in your bank account, this currency would be issued directly by the Bank of England and held in government-linked digital wallets. That's right, your money managed by the state. The official pitch sounds appealing: faster payments, less fraud, smoother digital transactions. But behind the buzzwords lies something more unsettling. Because digital pounds are programmable, the government could potentially control where, how, and when you're allowed to spend your money. Imagine if your funds could expire, or if purchases were blocked based on categories or behavior. That's not paranoia. It's a scenario already explored in official consultation documents. Privacy experts are saying, unlike physical cash, which allows for private transactions, a fully traceable digital currency could mean 24/7 financial surveillance. So what does this mean for you? If adopted fully, the way you shop, save, and pay could be transformed permanently. You may lose financial anonymity and even personal control. What can you do to prepare? Start researching private wallets, decentralized finance, and even physical hedges like gold or silver. Keep part of your wealth in systems that aren't reliant on government control. And most importantly, stay informed. Because once this law passes, turning back might not be an option. The digital pound isn't just coming, it's knocking on your front door. Are you ready to open it? Number 2. ISA Reform Act 2025. You probably opened savings without worrying about taxes. But that advantage? It's about to shrink. The ISA Reform Act 2025 is one of the quietest but most financially painful changes hitting savers this year. It reduces the annual tax-free allowance from £20,000 to £15,000. And there's serious talk about freezing that limit for the next 5 years. That means fewer tax benefits, lower growth potential, and, if you're not paying attention, surprise tax bills down the line. And it doesn't stop there. The government is considering stricter rules on transferring ISAs between providers, as well as excluding certain high-yield investments from ISA eligibility altogether. So what's the big deal? If you rely on ISAs to build long-term wealth, or even just to protect your emergency fund, you now need to rethink your strategy. That £5,000 cut in allowance could even thousands in lost tax-free gains over time. Here's what you can do. First, maximize your current ISA before the changes hit. Lock in this year's full £20,000 limit if you can. Second, consider splitting your savings between high-interest current accounts, premium bonds, or index-linked savings certificates. Finally, if you're investing for growth, think about using capital gains tax allowances strategically, while they still exist. The bottom line? ISAs are still useful, but they're not bulletproof anymore. You have to be smarter, quicker, and more diversified. Quick question before we move on. Do you use an ISA? How will this law change your saving habits? Drop your answer in the comments and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of these legal changes. Because trust me, still ahead. Number 3. Cash Payment Restrictions Bill. Cash is starting to disappear, and it's not by accident. The UK's Cash Payment Restrictions Bill is poised to put legal limits on how much cash you can use in a single transaction. On paper, it's about reducing crime and improving transparency. In reality, it chips away at one of the last anonymous, flexible ways to pay. Under this proposal, any transaction over £5,000 in cash could become illegal, even between private individuals. So that classic cash-in-hand car sale, it's on the chopping block. Paying your contractor, buying vintage furniture, helping out a family member, all of it could require a paper trail or be outright banned if it exceeds the limit. It's already happening elsewhere. France has a €1,000 limit, Spain €2,500. Now the UK is joining that trend. Here's the kicker. They're rarely increased. Over time, that limit tightens. Quietly. And let's be honest, most people aren't using briefcases full of cash. But that's the point. This law isn't just about stopping criminals. It's about normalizing digital-only transactions, pushing society closer to a system where every payment can be tracked. For those who value privacy, flexibility, or who simply don't trust digital systems 100%, this is a red flag. There's no law saying you can't still use cash. But if the law says you can't use it above a certain amount, is it really freedom? This isn't just a policy, it's a pivot. And it could be the beginning of the end for cash as we know it. Number 4. Inheritance Tax Adjustment Reform. You've worked your whole life, paid your taxes, saved what you could. Imagine the government quietly taking a bigger slice of your legacy, without ever raising the headline tax rate. That's exactly what's happening with the Inheritance Tax Adjustment Reform. The official inheritance tax rate hasn't changed. It's still 40% on estates above £325,000. But here's the catch. That threshold hasn't been raised in over a decade, despite inflation, rising property prices, and booming asset values. What does that mean? More and more middle-income families, not just the wealthy, are being dragged into a tax that was never meant for them. In London and the South East, an average family home alone can push you above the threshold. Add in life insurance, savings, pensions, or a second property. You're well over the limit. And now, with the 2025 reform, the threshold freeze is being extended another 5 years, while loopholes for trusts and agricultural land are under review for closure. More tax. Less flexibility. Fewer options. So what can you do? Plan early. Use lifetime gifting allowances strategically. Consider putting assets into joint ownership or spousal transfers. And don't underestimate the value of professional estate planning, especially before the reforms lock in. Because this isn't just about money, it's about the future you leave behind. Don't let the system claim what your family should inherit. Number 5. Crypto Reporting and Compliance Act. For years, crypto felt like a digital Wild West. No banks, no middlemen, no taxman knocking. But that's over now. The Crypto Reporting and Compliance Act is the UK's response to the rapid growth of digital assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins. Starting in any UK resident holding more than £1,000 in crypto must report their holdings annually to HMRC. This isn't just about big-time investors. Even if you casually bought some crypto during the 2021 hype, or got paid in tokens through a freelance gig, you're now on the radar. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs is tightening the screws. Crypto exchanges operating in the UK will be required to share user transaction data, including trading history, wallet IDs, and even transfers to cold storage. Penalties for non-compliance. Up to £5,000 fines, plus backdated tax bills with interest. And here's where it gets tricky. Many people don't realize that crypto-to-crypto trades are taxable events. Swapping Bitcoin for Ethereum? Taxable. Using crypto to buy a laptop? Taxable. Sending coins to a friend? You may need to declare it. It's no longer enough to just HODL. So what can you do? Start by organizing your records. Use crypto tax software that tracks your trades, gains, and transfers automatically. If you've never filed for previous years, talk to a tax advisor. Voluntary disclosure could save you serious money. And be careful with DeFi platforms, NFTs, and international wallets. They're all under the microscope now. Crypto isn't dead, it's maturing. But in the UK, that means compliance, not chaos. Welcome to the new normal. A regulated digital frontier with rules that are just getting started. Number 6. Rental Income Regulation Amendment. If you're renting out a property, even just a spare room, you'll want to hear this. The Rental Income Regulation Amendment introduces stricter rules for how landlords claim expenses and manage compliance. Gone are the days of casual letting. Whether you own a single buy-to-let or list a flat on Airbnb a few weekends a year, you're now under tighter scrutiny. Starting in 2025, landlords will need to submit quarterly digital updates of their rental income and expenses, rather than waiting until year-end. That means no more last-minute receipts in shoeboxes, no more guesswork on what counts as a deductible, and very little room for error. HMRC's algorithm will flag inconsistencies automatically. The rent-a-room tax relief also takes a hit. The £7,500 allowance is under review and may drop to £4,000 or lower, drastically changing the math for short-term or casual hosts. At the same time, deductions are tightening. Furniture costs, wear and tear, and maintenance can still be claimed, but only with records. For larger landlords, there's talk of mandatory licensing and inspection protocols tied to tax compliance. It's clear the government is trying to close income gaps and bring the rental sector into the digital age. If you're not ready, you could face fines, denied deductions, or worse, be reclassified as a business, triggering a different tax bracket entirely. So what should you do? Get organized now. Use property management software to track rent, expenses, and documentation in real time. And if you're unsure what counts as income under the new rules, ask a professional. Because what you don't declare might just declare war on your finances. Number 7. National Insurance Rate Restructure. If you're self-employed or earning through side gigs, your take-home pay, and not because you raised your prices. The National Insurance Rate Restructure coming into effect in 2025 is changing how much you pay to the government just to work. Under the new rules, Class 2 national insurance, a flat weekly fee, is being scrapped. Sounds good? Not so fast. Instead, Class 4 contributions, based on profits, are being increased. This means if you earn more, you now pay significantly more, even if your income hasn't changed. Let's break it down. Previously, you paid around 9% on profits between £12,570 and £50,270. Under the restructure, that rate could climb to 12% or more, with thresholds adjusting yearly. Add that to existing income tax, and your effective rate jumps quickly. For those juggling multiple income streams, Uber driving, tutoring, Etsy shops, it gets even more complicated. Reforms also affect contractors and gig workers under IR35 rules. If you fall into this category, you might be treated as an employee for tax purposes, but without the benefits, like sick pay or pension contributions. The goal, according to HMRC, simplify the system and boost revenue. But for individuals, it means doing more work for less net income unless you adapt fast. What can you do? Recalculate your income projections and set aside extra for taxes. Consider forming a limited company if it benefits your tax position. Track every business expense. You'll need every deduction you can get. This isn't just a rate change. It's a shift in the economic landscape for anyone working independently. Adapt now or pay the price later. Number 8. Green energy retrofit credit changes. You've probably heard the message. Go green, upgrade your home, save the planet and your energy bills. But starting this year, that plan just got harder to afford. The green energy retrofit credit changes are quietly removing or shrinking many of the financial incentives homeowners relied on to make eco-friendly improvements. Until now, installing things like solar panels, insulation upgrades, heat pumps, or triple-glazed windows often came with government credits or rebates. These were essential for reducing upfront costs. In 2025, several of these programs are being either phased out, capped at lower limits, or replaced with loans instead of grants. Example: the Green Homes Grant is being scaled back, with stricter eligibility and tighter spending windows. Some households that qualified for £5,000 before may now only get £1,000. Even worse, VAT exemptions on certain green materials are also being reconsidered, which could make eco-renovations even more expensive. So why the change? The government is trying to cut spending, but critics argue it will slow down the UK's net zero targets and punish homeowners who are trying to do the right thing. Here's what you can do. Act fast. If you're planning a retrofit, check which incentives are still available and apply before they disappear. Look for local council grants, which often run independently of national policy. Consider low-interest green loans or phased upgrades instead of all-in-one projects. Going green shouldn't be a luxury. But in 2025, you'll need to be strategic, informed and quick, because those savings won't last forever. VAT expansion policy. Sometimes it's not the big tax hikes that hit hardest. It's the small, silent ones that sneak in while no one's looking. That's exactly what the VAT expansion policy is doing in 2025. Instead of raising the VAT rate, which would grab headlines, the government is choosing to expand the list of goods and services that are subject to it. In plain terms, things that were once zero-rated or exempt from VAT, like certain foods, health products, children's clothing, digital publications, or even private lessons, are slowly being pulled into the standard 20% category. You won't get an alert. There won't be a press conference. You'll just notice your weekly shop is more expensive, your fitness class costs more, or your kids' school supplies seem oddly pricey. The goal? Increase tax revenue without political backlash. The result? A subtle squeeze on everyday households already juggling inflation and rising bills. It's not the pinch. Small businesses, especially in education, wellness and digital services, may now need to charge VAT, register for it, and handle the admin costs that come with it. That's a burden many weren't prepared for. And once VAT touches a category, it rarely leaves. What should you do? Watch your receipts. Track where prices are creeping up. If you run a small business, check if you're close to the new VAT threshold, which remains £85,000 in revenue. Prepare for extra accounting needs. It's better to register early than be fined later. This law isn't loud, but it's wide-reaching, and it proves something important. You don't need to raise taxes to take more money. What counts? You just need. Number 10. Pension Reform Act 2025. Retirement used to feel like a promise. Work hard now, enjoy life later. But under the Pension Reform Act 2025, that promise is shifting. Quietly, sharply. This reform changes several key pillars of the UK's pension system, and not in your favour. First, the state pension age is rising again. Depending on your birth year, you may now have to wait until age 68 or beyond to receive full benefits. If you're in your 40s or younger, that future milestone just moved further away. Next, the lifetime allowance cap, previously scrapped, is now being reintroduced in a new form. Large private pensions may face new tax charges if they exceed set thresholds, penalizing disciplined savers. Then there's the change to auto-enrollment contributions. The minimum is meaning more of your monthly pay is locked into pensions, which you can't touch for decades. Sounds responsible, right? But for those living paycheck to paycheck, it's another deduction, another delay in financial freedom. And for self-employed individuals, the pressure is building to join new mandatory pension schemes, with penalties for non-participation under review. What's the takeaway? You'll need to rethink how you plan for the future. Start investing outside your pension, ISAs, diversified portfolios, even property. Review your projected retirement age and consider phasing out work gradually rather than stopping cold. Stay alert to annual contribution limits, tax traps, and policy shifts that could undermine your savings. This isn't fear-mongering, it's reality. The pension system is evolving, and it's up to you to stay ahead of it. Because retirement won't wait for laws to get fair. And the sooner you adapt, the more. These laws aren't just headlines, they're decisions that shape your everyday life, silently and permanently. Which one shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. If you found this eye-opening, watch our last video on how UK inflation is stealing your money without you knowing. We pour hours into every video to bring you the truth. So please, support us with just one click. Subscribe now.